What happened? What happened to you? So you started studying at the University of Latvia philosophy faculty,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, like, what happened over there? Like you studied for a semester and then you decided to quit. Do you mind if I ask you what happened?
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, I love the beginning of my studies. I met a lot of interesting, curious, and quirky people. They were all super fun to be around, and it was a blast to like bounce topics off each other, see what sticks, what everyone thinks. Um, yeah, and then that was truly a great time, and also the community aspect of what that university brings is I think it's hard to find that anywhere else. But yeah, all of these positives that I'm mentioning right now, they kind of fell apart once the second wave of COVID struck, and the studies started. Yeah, the studies started being held over Zoom or Google Meet, and I have an opinion that especially philosophy doesn't really work over the internet. At least like when you want to talk about philosophy, like seminars, for example. Because what ended up happening was either than being like an open-ended discussion, the professor said a thing, and then of course everyone had to take part in the seminar. What ended up happening was just a ton of raised hand icons on my screen, and basically everyone in line, one after another, said a statement which by that point might have not been linked at all to what the professor had originally said. Just was it became a matter of just saying something, and I struggle with that a little bit because I didn't want to just say something. I wanted what I said to be well thought out and to be a meaningful part of the discussion. Yeah, but I guess I failed to notice that there was no discussion at all happening at that point.
It's interesting because maybe the pandemic and the remote classes with philosophy, particularly, maybe the same fact of having the pandemic and having them remotely made the classes less fluid in the sense of communication, but also a question could be raised that people are actually, this is a weird thought that I have, maybe they might be booking and intervening in class just to make sure that at some point they will be asked a question and they can do whatever they want. You see?
Yeah, that was basically how it went. Everyone, basically at the start of the seminars, everybody raised their little hand icons in unison, just so they could get their like speaking part over with and just chill for the rest of the thing.
Which is killing the same idea of, as you said earlier, particularly philosophy needs a turf that has to be alive, that it has to be fluid, and that there has to be some sort of, allow me, maybe some human touch into it, and an empathic approach, and everything that is live in a dialogue that has to do with philosophy suffers enormously if you put it remotely, and it's just, unless it's 4 people, unless it's a class made by 5 people.
Yeah, I mean, unless people are able to talk freely, I think philosophy dies. There's nothing concrete in philosophy. It's basically, well, actually depends on what on different specific philosophies, because some of them have very specific ideas. But I think philosophy in general is based on the fact that we don't know anything. And that's where it's born. It's when people talk and disagree and try to find the truth together. And when it becomes just a series of statements, that's not philosophy anymore, in my point of view.
I agree. From my humble and point of view, that as a tourist of philosophy, but I would say is an exercise that we're not accustomed to do in society very often already, coming from the presupposition, I don't even know how to say that word. Presupposition, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Presupposition of the fact that we don't know anything, even if it's just a something that is not true. We're abandoning our values just temporarily in order to explore the world that we live in. Is a beautiful exercise anyway. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, I think, in my opinion, I think that we should all do it a bit, just as a game or an exercise, in order to abandon some of the ideas that maybe they're too radical in us, and maybe they I don't know, they don't allow us to see progress or change or things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
guess.
mean, philosophy is born from discussion, I'd say, and I think that's one of the things we talked about back then at Lobbyitis
Yeah,
is the distinction between argument and like arguments and discussions, and what people generally get stuck in, I believe, is arguing too much, and when they should be having a discussion. Because nowadays, I think with politics being especially brought into our everyday lives with social media and access to all the information all the time, um, people who never learned how to have a discussion get so heated over ideas and start arguing, and
yeah,
yeah.
that, that is true. I mean, like, it would be, it wouldn't be, it would be disingenuous to not to stress the fact that it's not easy. But you're not saying that, but I'm saying that it's not easy to abandon those safe I don't know,
Yeah,
that safe harbor that in which we sometimes build our personality or whatever. Is the fact that
exactly.
it's not easy doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. I think that if you are able to do it at your age already, and if you're exercising to do it at your age, life can the world is your oyster in that sense.